What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the Thomas Gallery, and today I want to talk about galaxies. What are galaxies? Well, I've talked about planets, stars, solar systems. As you can see, it's some kind of pattern here. So let's go out to the galaxy. What is a galaxy? Well, a galaxy is simply a much larger group of stars and planets and moons coming coalescing, coming together. Okay, like you say, you have a Earth, you have a bunch of planets. You got a sun with a solar system. You got a bunch of stars and suns. You got a bunch of other planets and moons and so forth and so on. Well, this scale continues to grow. Okay, so now a galaxy is a. When I say a bunch, I'm giving it an underestimation. When I say there are a bunch of stars, I mean there are billions upon billions. When I say there are a bunch of planets, there are billions upon billions upon billions upon billions upon billions. I say there are asteroids and comets, and meteors and black holes, and I'll begin to black holes in another video. And black holes can't even the number can't even just you can't think about the number. Well, well, a galaxy is pretty much a much larger system of those things I just mentioned. And it has a black hole in the middle. And when I say there are a bunch of galaxies, there are billions upon billions of galaxies. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. Why is it called a galaxy? What's the name galaxy come from? You ever think about that? You ever think about the actual name of these things that are given? Well, galaxy comes from the Greek word galactus. Galaxis, I'm sorry, galaxis. And the word actually means milk. As in milk does a body good, as in cow milk, no cow moo, breast milk, stuff like that. Milk, it means milk. Why is that? Well, from if I was to guess why a man would call it that, my guess would be thousands upon thousands of years ago, before man had the ability to see farther out into space with the invention of telescopes and so forth and so on, before the Hubble scope and the International Space Station, all man could do was just look up at the sky and see stars and see planets and see meteors and see comets and just marvel, right? Just marvel. Well, there'll be a time, depending on where you are, there'll be a time where you can look up in the sky on a nice clear day, a nice clear night, no clouds, nothing, just clear black with just stars scattered in the sky like diamonds on velvet, right? And you look up and you'll see just the incomprehensible amount of stars just space material that just comes up. And it will resemble milk. So you will look up and say, that looks like something I'm familiar with. That looks like a milky substance. So we're going to call that Galaxies, the Greek word for milk. That's why the name for our particular galaxy is called the Milky Way galaxy. Okay? Because so technically the Milky Way galaxy actually be the Milky Way Milky. That's if you call the Milky Way galaxy, it will actually be called the Milky Way Milk or Milky Way Milky. Just think about that. The same way how they call it Sahara Desert, Sahara, and the word for desert is Sahara, so it'll be Sahara, Sahara. Yeah, just think about that. But when man looked up and just see this this view, this beautiful view, and it looks like a milky white substance in the sky with all the stars in the sky and the lights just shining in the sky. Looks like milk. So the man would say, okay, what do I have around me that looks similar to that? Milk. So they gave the name Galactus as milk. In other words, you also like galactose, which is one of the ingredients in milk. It's called, you know, I would say somebody is lactose intolerant. You got galactose. That galactose is the word for milk, the Greek word for milk. That's what we call the Milky Way galaxy. That's the original word for galaxy. It's called milk. Now, are we the only galaxy in the universe? No, we are not. We are not the only one by a long shot. We are one of several billion. And if you think about it, I used to do this exercise when I was a little kid about how like your true address, your true actual address. So it'd be like your street number, right? Your street number, with your house number, your street number, your county, your city, then your state or country, depending on where you are in the world. Then it'll be your continent. Then it'll be your hemisphere. Then it will be your planet. Then it will be your solar system. Then it will be your galaxy, Milky Way galaxy. Now here's what we also know. Our Milky Way galaxy is also part of a number of it's called a supercluster of galaxies. And we are just one of several billion. We got our next door neighbor, Andromeda. We got galaxies like the Crab Nebula. We got all these different names. No, nebula means cloud. So crab, no, it's a no. We got the Andromeda, which I think is our closest. I think it's our closest galaxy, Andromeda. I think it's our closest. And we are just one of several. I think we're actually out of the whole supercluster, we're in, I think it's called the Virgo supercluster, if I'm not mistaken, the Virgo supercluster. And then you still got more there. It's like a chain. It's never ending. You got to go through all that before you even think about getting to the rest of the universe. You got to deal with just your address as in the galaxy alone, the supercluster, the cluster of galaxies, the Milky Way galaxy, all the way to our solar system, to our planet, to the continent or the hemisphere, the continent, the country or state, the capital, whatever, if you want to do that, the city or borough or parish, depending on where you are, the neighborhood or the street address, then the actual house that you live in. That will actually be your full address. Just think about that. And when I say like the scale, I could try to give you an example of the scale of the galaxies and different galaxies, but even with my creative mind, it'll still be hard for me to comprehend. So I know it's even harder for somebody else to be comprehended. But yeah, think if our Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years, 100,000 light years, 100,000 light years across. That is the size of the Milky Way galaxy. 100,000 light years across. Like I said, I dealt with the light travel. Yeah, light travels in 1 year 6 trillion. That is 1 with 12 zeros, which is put 6 with 12 zeros. 6 trillion miles. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. 1 kilometer is 3,280 feet. Okay? So 6 trillion miles. So 5,280 times 6 trillion. Now take that 6 trillion, multiply that by 100,000. That is the distance in miles across our Milky Way galaxy. My word. Son. Think about that. Think about that. That's just our galaxy. There are hundreds of billions of galaxies in a supercluster of galaxies. And you ain't gonna talk about how many stars there are. And each star have multiple planets. I mean, our star has 8 planets. Just imagine the other stars, the larger stars, how many planets they got. Think about that, man. Galaxies. Milky. That's the funniest part. Out of all this, the name we actually gave it was milk. That's funny. But that's just the thought process of man. You take what you're familiar with and you just relate it to other things. So if you look up in the sky and something looks white to us like milk, we're gonna call it a milky Galactus or whatever the name, whatever word is in that particular language. I mean, that's just the Greek word. What about the Arabic word for the galaxy? What about the Hebrew word for galaxy? What about the one of the what about the Swahili word for galaxy? What about the Native American word for galaxy? What about the Aboriginal word for galaxy? What is the Mandarin word for galaxy? What is the word for galaxy in Japanese? Just think about that. All these different languages. What are their names for galaxy? Because galaxy is a Greek word. And there were people on this planet before there was a Greece or a Greek language. So what did the people of ancient before them call it, and what did the other people from other languages call it? That's a cool thing to think about. So I'm gonna drop that on y'all real quick. Get something to think about. 100,000 light years. Time. Oof. My word. Just saying that just makes you man. Anyway, I'll catch you all later, y'all. Peace.